today we're going to talk about practical things that we can do during the holidays to experience some peace. So we're surviving the holidays after loss. Okay, here we go. So today what my intention is and what I'm committed to is to showing you how to navigate through the holidays with peace and grace. Notice I'm not saying without pain, because I believe that pain is important in our process of healing. But if we could feel peace and grace amidst our pain, and if we can have hope that pain is allowing us to heal, it will feel differently and it will avoid suffering. I ask that you please turn off all the distractions. If you could be present with me, I love that you have chosen to honor a loved one, and that's what I want today to be about. It's not about skipping pain or finding the pill to surviving the holidays. It's about honoring the person that we lost and love by keeping their memory alive during the holidays so that we can experience some joy in this season. There's a free Q&A, as I mentioned, so stay till the end and I'd be happy to answer all your questions and hear all the comments that you want to share. You are in the right place if somebody who you love died. If you're going through a divorce, we don't realize that loss is so much more than a death, right? Like we lose our life as we knew it when we lose our health, when we lose our marriage, when we lose a loved one, when we lose our financial security. And if you're going through any form of loss, then you're in the right place. If someone you love has moved away, and I know a lot of people that are unable to see their loved ones and family members because they can't travel. I know people from Venezuela are stuck in Venezuela and haven't been able to see the rest of their family here. Or some, like the college students, or if someone has left physically, or if you cannot spend time with, the holidays with your family because of the whole COVID situation. I have a client whose dad is dying of cancer, and he can't go see him because he's so vulnerable that they're scared of having him exposed. And it's just excruciating to see that his life is vulnerable, and he doesn't know how much time he has with the dad, yet he can't see him. This situation really is very painful in so many ways. So whatever your motivation, I am Betsy. I am honored to have you. I am here to serve. My heart is 100% here with you guys. And I hope I get to bring a little hope. Why am I doing this webinar, right? Like who am I to do this? I do have a PhD in clinical psychology, and I've been working for 20 years, and I've been exposed to all sorts of grief and pain and losses. But I feel that what really gives me the credential has nothing to do with my experience. It's more about having experienced the pain of loss. And this video is a little long, but I wanted to share a little bit of my story with you. And I hope it already gives a little hope.
Our life was a fairy tale. We had the two princesses, the little prince.
We had that little picnic table, and we'd always sit in front of the TV, and that's how I memorized my left and right, because I always sat on the left.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
When she would call Alain at work, or Alain would call, I'm sorry, and then you're like, ¿Quién es? And she's like, soy yo. Remember? Instead of saying soy papi. Like, oh, yo, oh, okay.
Whenever I woke up and she was still sleeping, I'd wait till she woke up, so we like woke up together, I guess.
You would both come to the door at the same time, and you would open it, and nobody would come out first. So they would be waiting to see which one would come out.
Like, we had like the perfect family, the perfect life. There was so much love.
Weekends were barbecues, pool, trips to Disney, trips to the beach, everything you could
Even
want.
the day-to-day. Alain would dance with me, with the girls. We have a video in which he's dancing with Fofi, and you came because you wanted to be with him. And Fofi was like, Mio, Mio, like go away, he's mine. It was beautiful. And that morning, she came out, she played the juicing game with Daddy, and then we went to Mass. I had been teaching them the Our Father. Fofi didn't know English, she only spoke Spanish. Like, her accent was the cutest thing ever. And in the Our Father, the lady goes, Our, and she goes, Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Like, with her
Finishing
cute
the
little
sentence.
accent.
So I remember we decided to do the end of summer barbecue.
And Fofi came, and she wanted to go to the pool. I got ready, I went outside, we went into the pool, and that day she swam from me to Alain, from him back to me. Then we did the cheerleading game, you know, like Alain would carry me, I carried Chi-Chi, and Fofi. We took pictures like that. It was a perfect Miami sunny summer day.
I remember taking pictures in the barbecue. One time I came and I saw her in the deep playing with some other kids. And I said, be careful with Fofi. She doesn't know how to swim too good. So in my mind, I keep on saying, if I knew it, I would take her out of the pool at that time. So after that, I came inside and I was taking care of Gordito. That's the last time I saw her.
It has been the most painful day of my life.
I don't. To this day, I don't know what happened or how it happened. I know that I was talking to Christy, and then suddenly she says, "Where's Fofi?" And I couldn't see her. And then I realized she was right next to me. But at the bottom. We got to the hospital and we were in a small room with a lot of medical staff, and everybody's working on her, and they're they're trying things, and at some point I see the monitor, and there's like a line, like a straight line. Like, does that mean she's like not like no pulse anymore? So I was like, make her heart beat, make her heart beat. And that was my prayer, like, God, make her heart beat. Please make her heart beat. And he didn't make her heart beat. He didn't save her the way I wanted her to be saved. At night, I ended up on the bathroom floor, and I was like rocking back and forth, like a crazy person, like wanting to like rip off my head and the thoughts, and I wanted to die. The next day, there was a lot of people here, and Alain and I were like literally hiding in our walk-in closet. And the priest that baptized all 3 kids came to visit, and he went into the walk-in closet and sat down with us on the floor. And as we're there, Alain is asking, is it possible to be happy again? And what the priest said that day
forever transformed our lives. And he said, some people are, and some people are never happy again. The people that are never happy again, they think that the more they loved, the more they have to suffer, because that's how you show love. And the people that are happy again are those who choose to love and honor your loved one through service, gratitude, and love. It was hard, but I always had the hope. We made decisions that would lead us there. That was like our north. Do I do this or do I do that? Do I go to this retreat or is it too soon? Start a foundation and serve in her memory? Or do I stay comfortable? That message defined us.
What's always hurt me the most about this whole thing that happened doesn't have to do with my pain or what I'm feeling, but more with what I've thought that La Chichi's feeling. But she's so awesome and so strong that without even knowing it, she's made it easier for me. But I guess that's what being a parent is. It's not what you're feeling, it's what your kids are feeling.
Wolfie was special. I think God sent her to Earth for a purpose.
You know how people say that you have to go through the pain to get happy or something like that? I feel like if we didn't go through this, we wouldn't be as happy. And I feel this book is gonna help a lot of people.
That's another thing I was gonna say, that I feel like, I feel like we're an example to other families. Like we give them hope, and they're like, oh, if they went through that and look how they are now,
Yes.
I feel that a lot.
And there's a piece of her in everybody. Like in Chi-Chi, I feel like because they were like the best friends in the world, they have something really deep that transcends time, space, and death. And then Mia is very similar to her in many ways. She's funny like her. And Gordito has the kind heart that she had. Like he's kind and loving like she was. So I feel like we all have a piece of her. And our family has grown. We have a bunch of nieces and nephews, some very, very new.
I'm very active.
Very active. If we went through this and we can smile again, then everybody can. So we've learned how to embody hope for the people around us and show that it is possible to be happy again. That in fact, because we've experienced excruciating pain, we've also had the opportunity to feel the most amazing joy. And when people look at us, they see that it is possible to go from hurt to hope.
So that is a little bit of my story, and these are the people that I honor, right? Like Fofi is my daughter. Her real name is Veronica, but we called her Fofi. And because of that day in the walk-in closet, in which I learned and I trusted this priest that came to talk to us, I believed him. I believed him that it was possible to be happy again, even though we couldn't see the light. And it's definitely not what we were experiencing at the moment. I didn't think it was possible, but I believed him. He gave me hope. And that's why this program is Hurt to Hope. It's not Hurt to Happy. Because when you're in such a pain, you can't even think about happy. You can't think about smiling ever again. But if you think about hope, like if you have the hope that this pain is building you, that this pain is fertilizing you to help you grow and become stronger, that this pain can allow you to honor your loved one through service and gratitude and love, then it's easier to go on another day, right? Like it's then at that point you have something to wake up for and you have something to look forward to. And this is my family. We have found joy again. It's been 7 years since the death of my daughter, and I pray and hope that a little bit of what you hear today allows you to have that hope that I experienced 7 years ago, the day after losing her. And the idea today is to help you visualize and imagine that it is possible to feel peace during the holidays, even though most of your pain is raw and real and recent. Like I said, the first time that I experienced hope was the day after losing her. And although I couldn't see it, I believed. I believed it was possible. And that's my intention with you. It's to help you believe that it is possible to have peaceful holidays, and it is possible to find hope in this pain. So the first thing that I want to share about surviving the holidays is anticipation is always harder than the experience itself. I love the quote by Seneca: "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And what I want to share about this is many times we anticipate, like, oh my gosh, I can't, like, Thanksgiving is going to be horrific. And I have an online program that I'm going to talk to you guys about at the end. And one of the people in my community in the online program, because we have coaching sessions together, she kept on saying, like, I just want to skip over Thanksgiving. That was his favorite holiday. Like, she had lost her son to suicide. And she was like, that, like, it's just going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible. How am I going to do Thanksgiving without my son? That was his holiday. I'm not doing the pie because, pecan pie was his favorite. And I am having family over because they forced me pretty much. And she kept on saying how it was going to be so bad. And she did beautiful work in our program, and we supported her through it. And we gave her some of these tips that we're sharing with you today. And I called her on Thanksgiving and I asked her, like, how was it? I couldn't stop thinking about her the entire day. And she was, you know what? I am at peace. I am in a better place than I thought I would be today. And she found ways of keeping the memory alive, of remembering her child, of having his presence during that day without him physically being there. And I just want you to know that, yes, the holidays are a reminder of what we lost, and it's hard to experience the sweet without the bitter, right? Like, I feel like if there's something that was true for me for so long, was that everything was bittersweet. Like, no matter how amazing an experience was, I was always reminded of who I wasn't able to share it with. And that's why the holidays are particularly important. I don't think we only grieve during the holidays. God knows that we have our days every day, but the holidays are a reminder. And then it's, we see people around us, we see the joy around us, and it's hard. It's hard to know that you don't get that. You don't get that this year. But I will tell you that if you choose to implement some of these skills and tools, it can be bearable, and you can feel peace even amidst the pain. So keep in mind that what we anticipate, the idea of anticipating is not to start grieving and suffering for what hasn't come yet, is to prepare, is to do what we can to ensure that day we're equipped with tools that are going to help us remember our loved one without falling apart. And here, so understanding that the anticipation is meant to prepare ourselves rather than to dwell and suffer. Here are 3 things that we can begin with. The first one is embrace the pain. I believe that pain is a fertilizer. Pain is the foundation for growth, is it's humbling. It brings us to our knees, so it allows us to seek help, to humble ourselves. Like pain is not the enemy. Pain is not the final destination. Like we're not supposed to stay in the pain. Pain is the path. It's the path to healing. The only way around pain is through. The only way that we can overcome it is by feeling it. So if we allow ourselves to sit with our pain, to sit in the dark, to allow ourselves to have a moment, right? Like many times our family members are like, don't cry, don't cry. Like, he wouldn't be happy if you were crying. Like he wouldn't want you to be, but we need to cry. We need to feel. We need to sit in the dark to be able to enjoy and experience light at some point. And when I say embrace pain, I don't mean embrace suffering. There's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is the path, the pathway to healing. It's the hope that we know, like, okay, I'm feeling this, then I'm healing, I'm being fertilized. I love the analogy of pain as a fertilizer because fertilizers are made of poop and pain feels like crap and it stinks like it, but like fertilizers, pain help us grow. It nourishes us, it strengthens us, it helps us give fruit. It helps us become creative, think outside of the box, and just be motivated to get rid of that very pain. So then we do the impossible to move forward, to heal, to grow. So pain, that's pain. Now suffering is pain without hope. Suffering is the final destination. Suffering is also what we do when we avoid pain and avoid reality, and we escape it, and let's not talk about it. Let's put away all the pictures. We don't mention his or her name at the house. When we try to evade it, to escape it, to negate it, or when we get so submerged in the pain because it's what we've been feeling for so long, when it becomes a habit, at that point we're suffering because it became the final destination. But that's not what we're called to do when grieving. We're called to feel the pain, to heal it, not to stay in it. So when we've stayed in it, that's when we begin to suffer. Embrace the pain that fertilizes you. Sit in the dark, show your family, let them know, like, listen, I need to cry right now. Let me have this moment. And your family wants to do for you, to help you. They can't stand seeing you sad. But you get to tell them, if you want to do something for me, then sit in the dark with me for a moment and be comfortable being uncomfortable while seeing me cry and while seeing me feel. Don't try to fix it. I don't want you to fix it. You can't, right? Like I feel like at this pain, especially with, my gosh, with how raw the pain is for many of you during this time, the only thing that's going to bring you joy or that someone can do for you that you're going to appreciate is bring that loved one back. And that ain't going to happen. So because that's not an option, option B is sit in the dark with me and let me feel and embrace this pain because it's healing me as I allow it to take over me. The second thing is become aware. Like there's another person in our group that was talking about the holidays also, like Thanksgiving particularly. And she was like, she was really, really scared about it. So she kept on saying, like, it's going to be horrific. It's going to be the worst. It's going to be really bad. I'm going to be crying all day. I'm like, she was also like anticipating that moment. And one of the things that we worked on was like, just become aware of what you're doing, right? There's a concept, a term in psychology that I believe in wholeheartedly, and I think it's brilliant. And it's called self-fulfilling prophecy. A prophecy is when you say you're going to do something. I mean, when you say something's going to happen and it actually happens, right? Like that was your prophecy that, it's going to rain and it rains. Self-fulfilling implies that you contributed to it happening. And many times we don't realize the power of our interpretation, of our thinking. But when we say like, it's going to be a horrible day, it's going to be a horrible day, I'm going to feel sad, I'm going to be grieving, I'm going to be sad, it's going to be terrible, I'm going to be crying all day, I'm going to be miserable. When we're saying that, we are determining what that day is going to look like. We're making a prophecy. And the worst part about it is that we are going to be the ones contributing to it, because that morning when you wake up with some peace, or you smile at something that someone said or did, or you feel the grace of God in you, you're going to negate it. And you're going to say like, no, I'm not supposed to feel peaceful. It was supposed to be a terrible day. So you're going to sabotage that moment of grace that you were blessed with, because you decided that that's what your day was going to look like. So becoming aware of your language, of the things that you're repeatedly saying, and catching yourself and reframing it. Reframing means that we change the perspective with which you're looking at something into a positive one. So instead of saying, like, whenever you catch yourself saying like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do Christmas without my husband, I can't do, I can't give gifts without my son here, I can't celebrate, I can't do it. When you find yourself like doing those things, first feel the pain and allow yourself to be okay, and acknowledge that that's how you feel at the moment, and then become aware of how you may be contributing to that prophecy of not being able to do something that you are capable of doing, and reframe it, right? Like change the perspective and say like, I choose to honor my husband by making it a beautiful Christmas for the kids. I choose to honor my husband by, preparing for myself, because I live alone and I don't have any family here, preparing for myself an amazing breakfast that he would have loved and enjoyed. And I'm setting a space for him at the table, and I'm having a beautiful conversation with him spiritually, right? Like reframe, like convert this anticipation, this pain, into something that may allow you to look forward to it, that may allow you to feel a little bit of peace with the idea of not having your loved one physically present that day. And the third one in preparing yourself is change the paradigm. A paradigm is a belief that you have that is really ingrained in you and feels like a fact, right? Like those beliefs that we have that are like, okay, for example, one of my paradigms was, I cannot be happy again. It's impossible to be happy again. I lived for my husband and my kids. I'm done. I'm done being happy. That was my belief system, because I believed that I could not live without the physical presence of my daughter. And when I reframed that paradigm, right? Like when the priest that came to the walk-in closet told me it is possible to be happy again one day, even though I didn't see that possible, I believed, and I decided to change my paradigm to what he shared. He shared that the people that are happy again are the people who honor the loved one through gratitude, service, and love. And the people that are never happy again are the people that honor their loved ones through suffering, right? Like and I feel society has taught us that. People look at us weird, like if we're smiling after having lost a loved one. They're like, oh my gosh, look at that woman. She just lost her husband and she's like dancing, or she's smiling, or she's not wearing black. Like she probably didn't love him that much. Unfortunately, we're judged by society, and society has taught us. Like I remember many times feeling guilty about not having thought about her for 5 minutes, or not having cried, for half a day. And it's because subconsciously we have believed the paradigm that love equals suffering. The more you suffer after losing a loved one, the more you love that person. But that's easy. Anybody can suffer after a loss. What's hard is to honor and love the person that you lost through service and gratitude. That's hard. But then because it's hard, it has that much more value. And it allows you to heal while continuing to keep that loved one's legacy and memory alive. So to prepare, start always by embracing pain. in this program, there's a lot of people that have been hesitant to join at the beginning because they're like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not there. I'm not ready to take such a thing to heal the grief. What do you mean? It just happened a week ago. And I always tell them, like, the reason this program starts with pain is because you are ready. Like, my first module on that online program is pain. And people are like, what about pain? Well, there is a way of navigating pain that's healthier than others, because if not, it will become suffering. If we avoid suffering, if we avoid the pain, if we escape it, if we stay in it too long, like, it's hard. It's hard to know how to feel this pain that we've never been exposed to and that we don't know what to do with. And nothing in life, nothing prepares you for such a pain. I had a freaking PhD in psychology and 20 years of no, at that point I had 13 years of experience with other people grieving. And I was at the bathroom floor rocking back and forth like a deranged woman, because the psychologist did not know how to navigate that pain. And I wish I had someone to tell me, it's okay, Betsy. It's okay. Sit in the dark for a little bit. Like, that's healthy. Or someone to tell me, Betsy, it's been all this time, and you're telling all these things to yourself, and your interpretations are harming you. Like, I wish I had someone to hold my hand and show me the way. And that's what I intend to do with the people that I serve. I want to be what I didn't have for myself, and hence it took me way longer to heal and find hope and joy again. And the third thing is how to celebrate, right? Like, so now we know that the anticipation is always worse, and that it's meant to prepare us, not to lead into suffering. We know that it's possible to prepare for such a thing. And now we're like, okay, so the day's here. Like, how do we celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's Eve, all the holidays? And I would say that the first thing is, do it how it feels right for you. I have a client in my Hurt to Hope program whose dad passed away recently of cancer in June, and it was her birthday. And usually the entire family came for the birthday, and she was like, "No, I don't want the entire family. I want to be just with my sister and my mom, and that's it. Like, that's how I want to celebrate this year." And usually birthdays were a big deal for her. So the mom was calling me and she was like worried about it. And she's like, like, I just, she always loves to celebrate and loves the attention. But this is what she wanted. This is what felt right. And I think we have an opportunity to respect that, right? Like, to respect ourselves, to respect the loved one that may be enduring the loss, and just what feels right to you. I have another client in my Hurt to Hope program that always sets a chair, like, in the dining table whenever they had Thanksgiving. Now she's doing it for Christmas, and even in the day to day, she'll set up a space for her child that she just lost just a couple months ago. Suddenly, she set her plate with food and everything. And some people think that's crazy and that's wrong and it's unhealthy, and it feels right to her. It feels good to like honor her by giving her place and letting the rest of the family know that because she left, she's not forgotten, and she continues to be a part of the family forever, right? Like, I see a lot of beautiful presents that I've received and that my clients have received, where they say, like, forever a family of 6, forever a family of 5, because love transcends death. It transcends time and space, because the person is not physically here. That doesn't mean that the relationship ended. So whatever feels right to you, do. But do it because it feels right. Don't do it because you're supposed to or it feels wrong. Like, no, do it because it's what you feel in your heart you want to do. Acknowledge and honor your loved one. When the holiday comes, the idea is not to never mention the person, to not talk about it so we don't cry. No, like, talk about the loved one. Like, mention him or her in prayer, talk to him or her. Like, why not, right? Like, people think it's wrong and crazy and unhealthy to talk to someone that's died, but why? Like, why not communicate what you have in your heart if it helps you, right? Like, notice that some things can be pathological symptoms if they're not serving you. But if it feels good, if you feel peaceful by setting up the table and including the person you lost, by speaking out loud to that person, by praying, you know, and having that person intercede for you, then do it. I find it very healing to talk about the person, to mention the person. Maybe something that I did the first Thanksgiving to me was the worst. Oh my gosh, I didn't know all these things, and I sure didn't prepare, and I just couldn't find anything to be grateful for. It was excruciating. But something that I found to be healing was when we were doing the prayer for Thanksgiving. I started talking about her. I started talking about, you know, being grateful for the people that supported me through that, and everybody started crying. And honestly, like, seeing other people share my pain and sit in the dark with me at that moment was healing. And I would have been deprived of that opportunity if I wouldn't have mentioned her. And talking about her made her feel more present and real. Like, I don't know if you noticed in the video, but at the beginning of the video when we were remembering her, we smiled and we laughed, and we knew what that video where that video was heading. But as we were having this family session, we found ourselves just cracking up and laughing and remembering. So acknowledging and honoring your loved one is not only important to keep their memory alive and the legacy, but it's also important to change your mood, to focus, to help you focus on the blessings, on the blessing of that life. Because that I always hear that we should be scared not of the first death, but of the second death. The first death is guaranteed. We're all gonna die one day, and you know, our bodies are not strong enough to live forever. But the second death is when you've been forgotten, when what you did in this life didn't matter enough to be remembered and to be continued on as a legacy. So when you acknowledge and honor your loved one, you're keeping them from the second death, and you're keeping them alive, and you're keeping them forever in your hearts. So just keep that in mind, because oftentimes we want to avoid the pain and we avoid speaking of the loved one. And I know this is true, like, for some parents that I've served in my Hurt to Hope program, their kids have not been able to speak about it, to heal, to process, because the parents won't let them. And just because you don't address the pain doesn't mean it goes away. It's there. It's just unspoken about, right? Like, it's the pink elephant in the room. So by all means, include your loved one spiritually. And then finally, you can create new traditions. And I think this is one of my favorite things to do. The heart has a memory, and holidays have a memory. And we often remember, remember last year when he was here and he did this, and when she was there and he did that, she did that. And, by creating new traditions, we get to create new memories that do make us smile, that do bring joy. And that doesn't mean that those new memories don't include your loved one. One of the things that I do every year for Christmas is I participate in a toy drive, and I go with my kids and my husband to the toy drive, and we donate all the bicycles for the people that we're serving. And it's a way of doing it in honor of my daughter, right? Like, that act of kindness, if you will, is in her memory and is in her honor. But bringing joy to these kids that are less fortunate, is beautiful, right? Like, and seeing they especially love the bikes. So seeing their joy and their excitement, and seeing how my kids get to see how fortunate they are because they do have a bike that Santa brings, right? It's I, it's a new tradition that brings joy through service and through gratitude for what we do have. So creating new traditions that still include your loved one or that are different is okay. Maybe you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's in a different house or in a different way, or there's a new prayer, there's a new exercise in which we go around and we tell stories about the person we lost and we laugh about them. And those new traditions may bring hope. So whatever traditions you feel bring hope, you definitely stick to those. And lastly, how do we heal? And there's so much I could say here, and I have a whole online program about it. I hold my clients' hands to accompany them in their grief journey, to help them heal. And these are my three favorite, right? Like, one of the things that we can do during the holidays is redirect our pain to service, right? If it's true that pain is a fertilizer and that we are supposed to use it to grow and heal and become better, then how do we do that? When we redirect our pain to service, what we're doing is we're changing the focus to the thing that we can do for others. Because pain can be very consuming and self-centered. When we're in pain, we're so consumed by it that we don't think about what other people are going through. We don't think about, like the other people in this webinar that are grieving too. We're consumed. We're thinking about our pain. We're dwelling on it. I remember thinking, like, how dare the sun come out and the world go on? Like, stop, world, stop, so that I can grieve my daughter. Like, my life just ended. Stop. Right? In the meantime, there were other parents losing kids. There were wives losing husbands. There were husbands losing wives. There were people losing their parents. Like, there were people losing their health, their financial security. Like, I wasn't the only one in pain, but it felt as though I was. And when we serve, when we choose to mindfully and intentionally redirect our pain to service, we experience what I call a double blessing. We bless others with our act of service, act of kindness, and we bless ourselves with healing, because service and pain cannot coexist. They can't. Service is selfless, pain is self-centered. So when you intentionally decide that this Christmas, this Hanukkah, like this holiday, you're going to act differently, and you're going to honor your loved one by making donations, by making a phone call. Like, service could be like calling someone that feels lonely and giving that person some hope. Service doesn't have to be something grand and like a foundation you're volunteering for. Like, service is just look next door and see the need in the person next to you. Look at your child, look at your friend. I remember when I was going through my pain and I wanted to do this service thing, right? Like, I would call my friend, one of my best friends, her son had cerebral palsy, and he was my daughter's age at the time. He was 3 and didn't walk yet. And it was a challenge. It was painful. And I would call her and I would ask her, like, how's it going? Like, how's he doing in therapy? Like, what's the progress? And that helped her feel amazing, because she's like, wow, this woman is going through this and she's still asking me. And it helped me heal, because it reminded me that people are grieving in different ways, and I get to be empathetic and service oriented. The second one is process your experience. And what this means is, remember that we're not focused on the outcome. If if our outcome is to be happy and be happy on, during the holidays, then I assure you, you're setting yourself up for failure. But if we allow ourselves to process, to focus on the process, right? To pay attention to the blessings around us, to allow ourselves to feel the pain and find relief in feeling the pain, because God knows there's relief when we have a crying session and are done, right? Like we're so exhausted from crying that we forgot why we were crying in the first place, right? Like we heal through pain. So if we allow ourselves to feel the pain and to process the pain and to use it to find the blessings around us, to gain strength, to tap into our resilience, to get closer to God, if we use the process of the pain rather than wait for that moment in which I will feel better and I can, or I want to skip all these holidays. If we focus on the process rather than the outcome, and if we embrace it, we will find that it is more bearable than it feels at sometimes. And lastly, share the lessons. I feel like if you learn something from your pain, or if you feel your family can support you in different ways, share that. Don't assume that other people know what you know because it comes so easy or because you've had to learn it the hard way. You have something to share with the people around you, and it is your responsibility to share those lessons that you're learning so that you can be the light in someone else's life, so that you can be hope for them, the way this priest was hope for me. If he wouldn't have shared that thing that he learned through his ministry, I don't know what would be of my life. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done without that little bit of hope that he gave me to wake up another day. So whatever you learn through this experience, share that lesson with the people around you, because you never know how one simple thing that you say can save another person's life. I wanted to share some testimonials because I know it's really hard to imagine how engaging in a program that's about grieving, when grief is so individual and unique to each person, and it is. Like how can that help? And I think there's so many things about this program that are transformational and that are so healing, that I have to share them with you to hopefully bring you hope. Oh, I didn't. Let me click on it.
She is so right when it comes to like people celebrating the holidays early. And I was like, what? It was unbelievable. And now it's gonna sound weird, but because of the program and so much positivity, I'm actually enjoying right now the process of wanting to decorate for my children. And it's because I see it as like, instead of looking it as a negative thing, I'm like, no, she enjoyed this holiday, so I'm gonna make it extra special. I'm gonna make it sparkle for her, and I'm looking forward to that decoration is to honor her. We're all doing it to honor her.
I hope I speak for everyone in that sense, that we're all here to like support each other. We're all here to listen. And I said, I will go to therapy when I think I'm ready to go. And finally, I said, you know what, let me give it a try. And come to see, we are all going through pain. At the end of the day, the pain is the same, because we've all lost something dear to our heart, someone dear to our heart. So I'm just glad that we ended up doing the Hurt to Hope. It really has helped a lot.
I lost my life the way it used to be, and I ended up with Betsy again. But when you start to feel that hope, like, man, I could do this, and when you realize you're not alone and that everyone else
going through it too, it gives me a sense of peace. Feeling pain forever because it's temporary, and understanding the fact that you can end the suffering. That you will experience pain, and I know I'm going to experience pain again, but I don't want to suffer. And I think that to change your focus and find something to serve others, as you were saying, so that you can enjoy the moment and understand why things happen, I'm trying to do that every single day. Every single day. So that's it.
So these are some snippets from our Her to Hope coaching sessions. We do them in Zoom, and we have people from all over. The first one that spoke was from Dominican Republic, raised in New York, and we have Miami and Missouri. And it's beautiful to see how we all come together because of loss, but we connect because of hope. And I think that's what's different about our program, right? I went to a support group at some point, and people were like, yeah, we're part of this club we never asked to be a part of. And I was like, whoa, no. I'm not going to be part of a club I don't want to be a part of. Like, I don't want to be part of the club of all the parents that lost their child. I want to be a part of the club of the parents that lost their child and rose above it, and honor them through love and service and gratitude, and found hope and use that hope to share with the world. That's the club I want to be a part of. So I have been very intentional about creating this program. Like, the group coaching is also like a support group in addition to the group therapy, the coaching. It's a beautiful combination of all these blessings and tools and community. And I love that it's founded in hope, not in loss. Right? Like, I am definitely not your girl if you want to stick to the paradigm of, loving through suffering. So I wonder, right? Like, how would you feel if you had a certain certainty that it's possible to celebrate life after loss? And the reason I say this is because I remember we're approaching Christmas, and I remember on Christmas Day, the year that I lost my daughter, I remember thinking, like, man, how could this priest be talking about the birth of Jesus with so much joy when he knows that he's gonna die a tragic like death? Like, the guy's gonna die very tragically. Like, why is he so excited about the birth? And I envied him. I wanted to feel that. I wanted to feel like I could celebrate my daughter's life without thinking about her death. And I finally do. I finally can enjoy my daughter and, like, think about her and think about her life, not her death. And I want that for you. And I know it's a process, and I have a lot of patience in accompanying you through at your pace through your journey. And that's how I honor my daughter. And I have to say, like, people think, oh, it's because you have you studied psychology. Oh, it's because you have a family, or, it's because you have more kids, or because you have that husband. And you can do this if I was able to do it, because I'm not more special than you. And I was created by God just like you. And I am resilient as you are. And I have to tell you, none of what I went to school for helped me in coping with this pain. I had to figure it out with my faith, with like, just divine wisdom and a lot of prayer and divine guidance. And here I am, passing it along to you. Would you allow me to accompany you in this journey and have the honor of helping you go from feeling stuck to elevated? Because I believe we should use our pain to rise and become a better version of ourselves. And this is how I honor my daughter. I do these webinars every 6 weeks, and they're free to everybody. And I am committed about bringing hope. And the way I look at it, right, like in my own Christian ways, is I want to be the face of Jesus, the face of God for the people around me. I want people to see me and think, like, I want what you have, right? Like the peace, the joy, the the hope. And I am devoted to doing that because I know I'm going to heaven because of God's mercy, not because of my own doings, but I will sure try to do my best to get there, because I long for the day I get to hug my daughter again. So I honor her through service, gratitude, and love. And one of the things that I've created is I'm a psychologist, and I have a private practice, and my fee is very competent. I charge $395 an hour for my individual therapy. And I know a lot of people cannot afford that. And when there is a loss, usually the finances are affected too. And so I created this program to be able to help as many people as possible, to make it affordable, to make it powerful, and to share the same things that I would with my individual clients, but in a group setting that allowed me to reach more, to bring hope to more, and to serve in a different capacity. And that program is called Hurt to Hope, and it includes the life coaching group calls, which to me are extremely powerful. That's the one where we create community, where we have like a support group. Like my clients in this program like call each other, talk to each other, support each other. It's just, those snippets were not testimonials that they recorded for this. They were real content that they allowed me to use to share it with you. And it's very encouraging, very uplifting to be in those coaching calls. We also have a private members only Facebook group that allows you to hold yourself accountable, to reach out to your fellow, like friends from the support group for guidance. We also have what I call hope sheets. So in this webinar, there's 5 modules, and there's 5 modules of 5 different topics in which I address everything that we've spoken about here and more, right? Like we talk about the pain, we talk about acceptance. What does that mean? What does that look like? How do you pursue acceptance? Because acceptance is not something that you arrive at over time. It's something that you pursue proactively. It's an active process. So I teach you how to pursue acceptance, how to reframe, reinterpret your loss so that you may find some healing and hope in your heart and feel better about it. I teach you how to find the right people to surround yourself with, because oftentimes you're in this process, like, you lose a husband, you need an attorney that you can trust, you need a financial advisor that you can trust, you need, now you have to talk about money and finances and know that the person that's guiding you, like, it has your best interest in mind. You need a therapist, a lawyer, like, so choosing the right professionals, choosing the right people to surround yourself with. Many times we think that because our family is our family, they're the ones that need to accompany us in the process. And sometimes we get to attribute a particular role to family members that are really good at certain things. Like, I have a client in the program whose mother-in-law was really good about helping her with the kids and taking care of the kids, but she wasn't emotionally present, and it was hard for her to connect with my client emotionally. When she came back from the funeral and the burial, she was in her bed, like, like in disbelief and extremely anguished. And the mother-in-law was like, listen, I need you to like get up and start writing thank you cards to all the people that went to the burial. Like, she couldn't connect with her emotionally. She couldn't understand where she was at. Like, who's thinking about thank you cards and on the day that you buried your daughter, right? Like, so then she had to make decisions lovingly and kindly to include her mother-in-law in a particular role in her life, but she got to choose other people that were going to support her emotionally through the process in a more graceful manner, right? Like in a manner that felt more empathetic. So we talk about faith, building faith, right? Like, some people don't have any faith. And when I say faith, this program is actually very good about not making it about faith in God, even though that's what I call it, but like building faith in yourself, in your resilience, in your ability to overcome this, building faith in other people, and believing that others can help you and guide you through it the way this priest helped me, and building faith in a higher power, right? Like in whatever you call it, whether it's the universe or God or anything else, like, how to reach out and how to tap into that divine wisdom to help you through this. So all those modules have like in total over 15, I think I want to say it's like 18 videos total. And each one of those videos has a worksheet or a hope sheet, which is where you do the clinical work. So what I would do with my clients on a one-on-one, I put those exercises there so that you can do it. And if you have questions, if you feel stuck, then you get to discuss them in the weekly coaching calls. It's 6 weekly sessions. And you can always like join us back for the next block of 6. Finally, and I think this is like one of the most important things, because I do this to honor my daughter, I do not want your money if this is not serving you the way that you deserve to be served. So this program is 100% guaranteed. If you have invested yourself in this program, if you've given it your all and you've tried it and you've attended the sessions and you've done the hope sheets, and you feel that what I'm telling you today did not happen for you, like if it didn't help you, I will gladly, humbly, and enthusiastically give you the money back, because I'm not motivated by money. I'm not moved by it. I am moved by purpose and by the legacy and honor of my daughter. So nothing to lose and so much to gain. So this program is usually $997. It will go back to be $997 starting January. I did this discount for this year because it's when when COVID hit, and it was, in prayer the number came to me and I chose to do it, but it will go back to normal starting January. So today is actually the last opportunity we have for this, today and tomorrow. And it's $347 now. And what's really awesome about this is that if you cannot afford the $347 at once, then you could do 3 installments. So you could pay in full, or you could do 3 payments of $147. And I don't like for money to get in the way of something like this. So I'm always willing and eager to work out a payment plan that allows you, if that's the only thing that keeps you from doing this, I will work with you to create a payment plan that allows you to find hope and to start healing and to honor your loved one and continue their legacy. So if you'd like to join, I encourage you to go to hurt2hope.com/join. And I have to tell you, man, this is the hardest part for me in this program, because I don't consider myself to be salesy. I don't like this. Like, I have a business coach, and this is my struggle. But my coach always tells me, Betsy, you're doing people a disservice when you don't share this. And I will directly tell you and encourage you that if there's something that you can do for your loved one, is to heal and honor that person and not forget that person, but remember him or her with love, gratitude, and service. And I know the majority of people, I mean, it happens to me in private practice too, that the majority of people think like, how is this going to help? How is this going to alleviate my pain? And I guess you don't know what you don't know, right? But I've had the blessing of experiencing this firsthand, and I've seen transformations in days and weeks, and it just comes in the form of hope. Like, if there's hope, if you know that this pain is temporary, and if you know what things you can do to proactively seek that hope and acceptance, then then you can get up another day, and you can rise. And it's a process, but it's a beautiful process when you put your heart and your love into it. So I will officially invite you and encourage you to do this for yourself and for the person that you lost, that you loved, and use this pain as a fertilizer, not as a final destination. And that's my message for today. You can go to hope.com/join and buy the program there. Tomorrow is when we start the last block of 6 sessions of the year. So if you're starting this session, the deadline is by tomorrow morning. And if you want to join next year, you're welcome to do so. Just know that the price will be different. But I'm always here, and you're welcome to join us anytime. And I am now all yours, and I'm ready for your questions and answers. So if there's something you would like to share or ask, I am at your disposal. You can unmute yourself and share.
I had a question. You'd kind of mentioned about like not feeling guilty if you're not grieving a lot or crying a lot. Can you kind of expand on that? I kind of feel that's where I am. I don't cry all the time. I get teary-eyed sometimes, but then I wonder, did I not love him enough? I'm not grieving enough because I'm not sad more.
Well, it depends, right? And that's part of where we get to discern. Some people are not crying enough because they don't want to cry. They don't want to go there. They don't want to accept reality. And that is a form of suffering, even if you're not experiencing it, right? Because you're just delaying the process, but it's still there. But if you're not like escaping it and avoiding it, and you still don't feel like you're crying all the time and you're falling apart, and you think like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to be worse, you're not, right? Like everybody grieves differently, and tears are not the only way in which we experience grief. A lot of people experience it through anger. I have a couple of people in the program that, like, I have someone that lost a dad and someone that lost a husband, and they experience a lot of anger, and they take it out on other people, and they're often, they're a little bitter, and that is a form of grief. We don't have to like fall apart crying to express our grief, and people think there's something wrong with that. I also have parents that call me and tell me like, Betsy, my kids haven't been grieving, Betsy. My kids haven't been crying, and their dad died. Like, and I'm like, and that's okay. That's okay, because everybody grieves differently, and grieving, it doesn't mean crying or losing it, right? Grieving means the grief is the process through which we heal the pain of loss, but pain is experienced in individual ways, in unique ways. So if you're not crying all the time, but you're not avoiding the situation, and it sounds like you're not, right? Like you're here. If you're not crying all the time, it's okay. That doesn't mean that you didn't love him enough. Maybe, I'm not sure what your story is, but maybe this was expected, and you have been grieving for way longer than you think. I know for people that have experienced like cancer or some sort of disease, like their families have been grieving like from early on, from diagnosis, and then when they die, it's like they thought their life was going to be over, and it's not, and you're like, you're more okay than you thought you would be, and there should be something wrong with that. But the truth is, you've done your share of grieving. Having someone that's sick and going through like cancer or any other disease is a very excruciating process, and the grieving is done. It's called in psychology, it's called anticipatory grief. So that's also a possibility. But let there be no doubt that you love the person that you lost, Mary, because you're here. You don't have to honor your loved one through crying and suffering, and maybe that's not how you show love, and that's okay. That's okay.
Can I say something? It's not a question. It's more of a comment. Can you guys hear me? Or am I on mute?
Yes, yes,
Can
yes.
you hear me? Okay, sorry. Just because of what Mary just asked, my dad passed away on Thanksgiving Day. It made 6 months that he passed away. Like Thanksgiving Day was the 6 month mark. And I was working with Betsy. I had joined Hurt to Hope, very skeptical at first. And again, I'm not a major crier. I did cry at times, like to as a release to let it out, but it just wasn't my go-to for grieving. And I think I was really confused about that at first. And I would talk to Betsy about it. And in the Hurt to Hope, a lot of the people there that had also lost loved ones, they said they would cry. Sometimes they would just feel angry. So Betsy in this program helped me realize that my feelings were valid no matter how I expressed them. Um, also, so the workshops that she says, the first time I joined, I was very skeptical because I just didn't know what to expect. I joined, and honestly, it was great. It's a community, but it's not like a pity party, because I thought everyone was going to be crying, and I thought it was going to be like, oh my God, this just like an hour of like everyone crying and sobbing, and like you'll just be exhausted by the time you finish. But it was not like that. It was so uplifting, and there were moments where people were questioning things, and they were saying, like, oh, this happened to me, or this reminded me of my mom who passed away, and everyone would kind of rally around them. And so the workshop itself is amazing, and you get full access to Betsy. And then with these modules, these hope sheets that she calls them, when she first told me that there was, basically it's homework, I was like, oh my God, I'm feeling all of this and now I have homework. Like, I don't even want to get out of bed, like, let alone look at homework. I did it on my phone. And every time I would finish one module, I would feel like I accomplished a little something. So I would finish one module and be like, okay, I did the first module. And then she gives you exercises with these hope sheets. So you reflect on things, or you try to change your paradigm. It was great. And then finishing the modules, you think like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel better. Like, no more sorrow, no more pain. Unfortunately, it's not like that. But what I do have are the tools that I learned through the program, from the first module to the last one, that I could go back to, that will help you get through those harder moments, or through those moments where you think like, oh, I should be happy by now, but I'm not. And the last thing I'll say about this, okay, no, that's not true. It's not the last thing I'll say, because I could talk about this forever. Okay, but two more things that are very important that I think are so helpful for everyone here. I joined this webinar because, so this is the first holiday season without my dad, and we didn't really know what to expect. So like, are we going to be really sad? My family is very, very close, but because of COVID, we're doing things very differently this year, and we're not around as many people as we normally are. So it's like a double whammy. And my dad and I were like obsessed with Christmas. It was like our thing. And Thanksgiving, we would always do a 5K in the morning of Thanksgiving. And then that was like our excuse of we could eat triple the amount of food, no matter what. And then, so the last webinar, I believe it was the same topic, how to get through the loss during the holidays. And Betsy said, honor your loved one in a way that makes you happy, in a way that, brings everyone joy, that doesn't kind of bring down the mood. So at first I thought, okay, we'll set a place for him at Thanksgiving. And then I talked about it with my family. They weren't really on board with that, but I wanted to do something, different, create a new tradition in honor of him. So he always drank, not always, but he drank port wine sometimes after dinner, and he would just sip it. And that was like his thing. I do not like that. I think it is so gross. But at the end of Thanksgiving dinner, after everything was picked up, we were all stuffed. I poured port wine for everyone there, and we did a toast to my dad. And now we'll do that every year, because that was like his thing. He loved port wine. None of us did, but we just took it like a shot in order, like for him, I guess the biggest thing I learned from Hurt to Hope, it's very, very easy for a lot of people to say, even other psychologists, for them to say like, think of the happy times, or, time heals all, or it'll get better. It's so easy for people to say that, and it's so nice of them to say that too, because maybe that's all they know, like, very grateful for everything positive someone wants to tell you. Hurt to Hope and Betsy gives you a roadmap. It gives you tasks of things to do. It gives you goals. It gives you the how. It gives you the who, what, when, where, why kind of thing, you know, like, why do I feel this way? Because of this. And then she gives you the tools of how to work through those feelings and how to not just work through them and forget about them, but work through them and make them a positive or make them work for you, you know, instead of kind of suffering in vain. I did Hurt to Hope. I loved it, learned a lot from it, still use it all the time. Now, again, it's the first Christmas without my dad, so we'll definitely be going back into that toolbox. But I can't recommend this program enough. If you're waiting for a sign, if you're waiting for an aha moment of like, should I do this, should I not, consider this your sign. It has truly helped me, and then in return it helps me help my family too. So like Betsy said, you know, share your experience, share what you've learned. That's kind of, I guess, the stage I'm in right now. So that's what I can say for it. It's been great. You're not going to have a negative experience with this. That, you know, you could only be positive. You'll do the work. She gives you, I'm telling you, it's step by step, which what I struggled with the most. So I knew where I wanted to be. I just didn't know how to get there. She helps you get there. This program helps you get there. That's it.
Thank you, Christy. That's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Betsy?
Yes.
In my case, I feel that I wish things would have been different, in the sense that maybe I wish he wouldn't have never taken that job. Guilt, because I feel maybe I could have done more, even though I tried reviving him twice. Could I have done things differently? Would he still be here if I would have done things differently?
You know, Martha is your name?
Maritza.
Oh, Maritza. Maritza, you're not alone. I feel that, especially with wives that, you know, widows, I hear that so much. I have one client that kept on telling me, like, I took my kids to the birthday party. I should have stayed with him at the hospital. Had I known it was his last days, like I should have stayed with him at the hospital. You know, like she had this guilt and these questions, and did I do enough? And did he know that I loved him enough? And the truth is, Maritza, it wouldn't have changed anything. I know it's part of the process, and you get to ask the question, and you get to feel the guilt, and it's okay, right? You get to sit with all that pain, but that's part of acceptance, right? Like when we ask ourselves, like, listen, my daughter was next to me in the pool, and the week before we were at a pool in Puerto Rico, and she was a little scared of the water, and she was respectful of the water. She loved it, but she was respectful of it. And she showed some fear, and I told her, Mamita, don't be scared. Mommy's gonna take care of you. A week later, she was fearless, swimming from her dad to me and jumping to us, and Mommy didn't take care of her. Mamita, don't be scared. Mommy's gonna take care of you. Mommy didn't take care of her. So imagine the echo of that phrase, that promise that I didn't fulfill, or I felt I didn't fulfill. And the truth is that some things in life are mysteries, right? Like we have paradigms or ideas as to how life should be. And, little kids are not supposed to die. I'm supposed to be, they're supposed to bury me. That's a paradigm. And it was too soon. He was too young. I was supposed to go first. Like we have all these ideas as to how our life is supposed to be. And the truth is, reality simply is, right? Like, and that's why acceptance is such a gift, because us fighting it, us feeling guilty about it, does not return the loved one, does not change reality. But it's part of what we have to feel to then arrive at a place where we're ready to proactively pursue that acceptance and just accept what is. And this is how it happened, and God bless you for being able to revive him twice. That's unbelievable. Like, I tried with my daughter. I honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I've taken CPR classes, but I did not know what I was doing. Fortunately, I had a doctor at the house, and she came and she did perform CPR on her, and that didn't change it for me. And I had everything perfect for her to be saved. I had a doctor from the emergency room at my house, my friend there, who came to assist her. I was next to her, so it must have been seconds, that had taken for her to like be on the bottom of the pool. The hospital was 5 minutes away. The ambulance got there in 3 seconds. Like, it was like the perfect situation for her to be saved. She had a pulse when she came out of the pool when I took her out, and it didn't happen. So had you changed all those things, I mean, the doctors revived him 17 times or so, right? Like, it's, there are things that I still don't understand, and I wish I had answers for you. Like, some things that God allows. I don't think God does these things to us, but he didn't avoid them, right? Like, he didn't intervene to avoid them. And I think those are mysteries, but if there's something that I have decided to believe, is that when he doesn't interfere to save our loved one, it's because he doesn't feel that saving them is going to allow them the greatest of all gifts, which in our faith is eternity, right? So I feel that, like, I tell myself that, right? Like, my prayer every night was, for all my kids. My husband and I prayed together at night, and we would say, like, take care of them, free them from all evil, like, protect them. And I remember fighting with God and be like, I asked you every single day of my life. I begged you with faith, like, why didn't you? Until I realized that he did. I wholeheartedly believe that he protected her from all evil. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what it would have been, but I believe he did. So, that's why I feel like having faith in something is so important, because what we can't explain, we can trust that there's still purpose for it.
Thank you.
Hi guys. So Christy, thank you. I think you're a little younger than I am, and you're taking it like a champ. So thank you for being present. Marie, I was going to say that I actually made it through the weekend for the first time without really crying the whole weekend. And I was at the cemetery today for the first time by myself, and I really didn't cry much. And I was like, okay, I took it as a gift. And here I am, trying to hold back tears so I can speak. Jessica, so Dad taught us something this past year, all of us, including my kids. And that's the power of intention. If you don't have the intention to harm somebody, then why feel bad? So I'm listening to you, and I'm in a place where I have to listen to my mom over and over again. But what if? And I tell her, well, I'm just learning to listen. I was the one who took care of him. When he started the fever, he would only respond to me. He had one day of 103, the next day 101. We were on our first and last family vacation with all of the grandkids. I scheduled to have a family picture, which is now hanging in Mom's house, of all of us. And just this weekend, I said to my husband, okay, I know for sure that it was Dad's time. In the last year, I was praying alongside with him that I knew that until he completed his purpose and didn't forgive certain people along the way, that he wasn't going to go. But he told my youngest son and myself, it's coming closer. And this time him saying it had a different connotation. So I said to my husband, I accept, like, COVID for us, for me, has been a blessing, because I always expected for dad to go from a heart attack and that's it. Arrive to work one day and my mom tell me Papi didn't wake up. And dad didn't want to suffer. Dad didn't want anybody to take care of him. Although I kind of did, but he didn't know that I was doing that because he was sedated over 6 weeks. And just this weekend, I said to my husband, like COVID and, taking them at the right time, not taking them at the right time. I said, okay, so I've accepted and I'm thankful for COVID, because COVID gave us 9 weeks to get used to dad not being around, and having some sort of, how you're saying about cancer, like acceptance, right? Which you're never ready. Because the night before I had been able to be with my dad for like 3 or 4 hours. And I FaceTimed my brother, and finally my brother was like, okay, he's not there anymore, and his thing was lung failure. So I was still upset. I was very upset with my brother on Wednesday night because it was time. Like, I didn't want dad, his body, he was to bones in 2 months. A guy that was completely fit. We walked the beach and he was walking faster than I was. And so I said to my husband, well, what if we would have taken him the day that he had 103 fever? Or what if I would have taken him the day that I saw that his oximeter was reading under 80? And we didn't. And that's okay. And it's okay for you to feel, what if? I think that, where we need to, I guess, jump the hurdle is in that acceptance. And what's pulled me finally, like, feeling a little bit better is in that promise of eternal life, right? That God gave us his only begotten son. And that we strive every day to be the best that we can, into being that Jesus for others as best as we can, right? To be able to enjoy that. I'm going to be able to say something, although it's still hard for me. So I'm gripping on to eternal life, but it's very difficult still for me to say, okay, I'll see dad again one day. So just to say, and I don't know if Betsy will agree or not, as our gift to guide us through this, guilt is normal. But I guess that what helps me sometimes is, what if I'm feeling like guilty, let's say, is that serving me? Is it serving my mom? Is it serving my brother? Is it serving my kids that he was so close to? And the truth is that the answer is no. So, I guess it's finding those tools to feel that joy, which in the past couple of years, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Inside Out, but I realized through something else that happened in my life that joy and sadness dwell in the same place. And then furthermore, I embraced so many scripture readings in that God gives us joy for free. Like, we don't have to do anything. Grace and mercy sometimes comes from, like, if we're right with him, but joy is like, it's there for taking. So yeah, so that's just, kind of, what I wanted to share.
Oh, what a beautiful testimony. Thank you for sharing that. You have a lot of wisdom and a lot of hope inside of you. You would be right up our alley in our group.
Well, I'm starting with you tomorrow.
That's awesome.
It starts tomorrow, right?
Wait, are you China?
Yes, I'm China.
Oh, you're China. I'm excited to have you. I was like, oh my gosh, you would be amazing in our group. Because like I said, we come together because of loss, but we connect because of hope. Oh, I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. It does start tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes. Awesome. Anybody else has a question or anything you want to share?
I went through the what ifs with my husband too. He had a brain tumor. He lasted 11 months with it. In the last 2 months of his life, he was in hospice and just gradually got worse. And um, Mother's Day weekend, he took a turn for the worse and had been having headaches for a couple days. And I was like, my daughter kind of started it with, well, why didn't you call the doctor sooner? Why did you wait, 3, 4 days later? And why weren't you checking on him? That he was sleeping all the time. And I was like, well, until then, he was able to function by himself. He could drive and everything. I said, I didn't sit there all day long and monitor him and see how long he was sleeping. So I was like, well, what if I'd call the doctor sooner? And then did we put him in hospice too soon? And did that just cause him to go downhill? We ended up in a hospital bed. And basically, the last few weeks of his life, he was existing, not living. And now he's in heaven. He's totally healed. So I guess maybe that's why I don't feel like I'm grieving as much, because I know he's in a better place, even though I wish God would have healed him here on earth. But you can just drive yourself nuts going, well, what if I'd done this different? What if I'd done that different? And to me, I just had to accept it was God's will. He had a terminal illness. No matter what I did, eventually he was going to die from it. It was inoperable, so it was going to be sooner rather than later. So I guess I just had to come to that conclusion. No matter what I did, he was still going to die from this brain tumor. It wouldn't have mattered. So that kind of helped me get over the what if stage. And I guess I went through the denial stage when he was in hospice and thinking, oh, he'll get better. This is just a downtime and then it's going to get better again. So I didn't go through that after he died. Kind of zombie the first week, but I kind of went through that. Like you said, when someone has cancer like that, you go through those stages like ahead of time before they pass away. So some of those stages, the denial and everything, and the grieving, knowing that he was dying, I kind of went through before he died. So maybe that helped me move on sooner. But there are little things. I go to his grave and I don't cry. And then one day I was trying to get a table back upstairs in our bonus room over the garage, and I couldn't carry it up the stairs by myself. And I cried because he was here to help me. And I just thought that was kind of weird that I was crying over a table, but I'm not crying over his grave. But
yeah, but that's grief. That's grief because he, like you were reminded of the loss at that moment because he would have been there carrying the table. That is grief. And you did love him. Never doubt that. Okay. Anybody else wants to share or ask? I'm okay with awkward silence, guys.
Can I just say one more thing, just to jump on what everyone's already said? This is my dog. She's so cute, right? My dad was sick for 3 years. He had cancer for 3 years, and he was really, really sick. And there were times where he was so sick that we thought, okay, maybe this is it. But then he would get better, and he would jump back and forth. And then finally, when he did pass away, it was weird because half of it was you feel at peace because they're no longer suffering, and again he was existing, not living there, especially at the end. And then there was the other half where, like, if you hold on a little longer, maybe technology or medicine or something would have happened. So there was a lot of confusion for myself in the next few months after his death, and that's where Hurt to Hope helped me a lot. It kind of helped. It was this confusion, but Hurt to Hope kind of helped me. I'm sorry, this dog. Align my feelings with what was actually happening. It wasn't it's okay to feel two things at once, sort of. So it helped validate those feelings, and that all came from Hurt to Hope because I was lost. I mean, Betsy has worked with my family for a while now, and we are so grateful. And there were times where she was like, when are you going to come in for a session? When can I see you again? And I'm like, therapy's not going to help. Like, my dad died. That's it. Like, it's over, like, I just need to suffer through it. And then she, through Hurt to Hope, I learned that there's such a difference between feeling your pain and suffering. And that's what I didn't want. And that is what that's what Betsy has helped me learn. So it's been 6 months now, and I think it didn't help, but having 3 years of him in treatment and being so sick, you do have that anticipatory grief, but the loss is still just as big, because it's kind of like, oh my God, he actually died. Like, after 3 years, he actually died. That's so weird. You always think they're going to bounce back. Hurt to Hope kind of helped with that confusion, that I was in that gray area of like, am I happy that he's at peace, or am I sad that he's gone? Hurt to Hope helped with, it's okay to feel two things at once. Your feelings are valid. I thought I was crazy for a little bit, because I'm like, I know I'm happy, but like the rest of my life is going to be without my dad, So that was so confusing for me. Hurt to Hope, the program, the modules, the hope sheets, the webinars that she does, the one that's every Wednesday, what do you call it? The workshops.
The coaching sessions.
The coaching sessions. I'm sorry, the coaching sessions. I mean, imagine this, but like with tools and so much hope and so much, right? So it's like a Zoom meeting like this, where everyone's kind of on the same boat. Everyone's in pain for different reasons, but pain is pain. And that's another thing you learn through Hurt to Hope. And it's just, she just kind of helps you, like, like she guides you. I mean,
she's going to be our next facilitator, guys.
I'm totally down. I can do it. And it's helped a lot. Like, I don't know, you think I'm strong, but it's all Betsy and her learnings and teachings and accepting what she teaches, and like accepting it and actually implementing the work and all that. That's all Hurt to Hope. That's all Betsy. I wish I could take credit.
Thank you. Yeah. My Melly's another Hurt to Hoper.
Hi, I know I feel like a veteran. No, I recommend this program to anybody. It literally saved my life. I was a wreck. Anybody in this Zoom call, I was a wreck. I was sitting right here where I'm at right now in my room, in my bed, and I just ugly cried one day, and I've never cried like that in front of anybody. And after that, I was like, oh God, like, I don't think I want to go back. Like, I felt so ashamed. But, I mean, it changed my life. I lost my best friend 6 months ago. Can you believe, Betsy, it's going to be 6 months tomorrow? It changed everything. It changed. That's the reason why I'm sitting upright and I was able to survive through it. There's stuff that my parents couldn't help me with, and it was just bigger than me. It was the first time that somebody that close to me, that wasn't a grandparent or somebody really elderly, passed away. So I had to do it, and I'm so glad that I did.
I'm glad we had you too. Thank you. These are unpaid, what's it called, commercials, guys. I did not.
Unpaid, but Betsy, if you want to, I mean, you could Venmo me, whatever you want.
I swear it's real.
Just
like,
kidding.
Nobody paid me.
It's unpaid. I mean, not that I won't take a payment, but
it was
Christy.
so helpful. I did it twice. I did the program twice, and the calls are what helped me the most, I feel, because just the way that Betsy listens to you. And I was telling my mom the other day, I said, I don't know what Betsy does, but just people just want to like tell her things. And I just look back at that and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I cried like that in front of like strangers. Like, oh my God. But it was so good. And I'm not over it, but I felt like I was falling apart when it first happened, because it was my best friend, person of, 14 years, and I couldn't call them on the phone and be like, hey, what do I do? Because you died. There was nobody there that I couldn't tell him that. So I didn't know what to do. I was completely lost and I was a wreck. And now I made a choice to say I was suffering. In the beginning, I was suffering. And at the end of the second session, I was like, okay, you know what? That's it. I'm done, because I was miserable and my parents were miserable because they saw me miserable. And then I'm like, you know what? No, I'm alive, and I have my whole life ahead of me, and it's not fair to people around me that, I'm a wreck. So that's how Hurt to Hope helped me.
Anyone else has a question, a comment?
Betsy, thank you so much. Happy holidays and God bless you all. I have another Zoom meeting with my church, like in 5 minutes. But God bless you guys and thank you so much.
And thank you. Thank you for joining.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good luck.
Yes, I need to bow.
So, Christy, I have to say, your Zoom says Christina. I call everybody a nickname. Sorry. I'm super looking forward to Betsy, and I mean, she said something in the beginning of how she wanted to be the Christ to others. Reminds me of the prayer of St. Francis, which is something that I used to sing a lot when I was a kid. So, Betsy, thank you, and it goes with what you say of how, and reassures me, how like pain is a stepping stool, like the whole fertilizer thing. Oh my goodness. My dad's thing was his garden. And so I'm actually buying the house next door to my mom, which was her best friend, who she lost exactly 6 months before Dad. So, and we've lived there for like 40 something years. So we're all like an extended family. And just today, I was hanging an orchid in my dad's backyard, and one of the neighbors, original neighbors, came, and the lady that helps her with her husband came out, and they were like, oh my goodness, I remember your dad, doing the yard. And then she was going to ask me to actually hang an orchid for her because I inherited the green thumb. Anyway, so thank you, Betsy, for embracing your calling. And Christy, give yourself a little bit of credit because you opened yourself up for that. Again, I think you're probably half my age. Like, you could probably be my daughter. I have a
sisters.
Bueno, I have a 28-year-old. They say that I look like the sister, which is perfectly fine. But
okay, so you could be her mom.
But it takes us to also, like, be able to, if they throw you a rope and you're in quicksand, and kind of little by little.
That's the thing. I think I was so desperate to not feel that pain. And I'm telling you, Betsy came in like an angel and saved the day.
That's why I'm here, because the anxiety and the panic attacks, finally, I was horrible. Like, my fear of falling into a depression without me even realizing it. Although Dad prepared me. Dad instead, I'm my father's daughter. And I say that humbly. I think it's Spider-Man says, with great something comes great responsibility, something like that. Yeah. So I'm kind of living that, which is a thing that I'm having a challenge navigating through. But yeah, give yourself a little bit of credit, and
okay, a little bit for showing
well, you
up.
weren't giving yourself any
Betsy
credit.
So... Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Betsy takes the rest, though. I'll take like 5%. She gets 95.
Listen, I'm already giving her all the credit, so that's all good.
I'm excited to have you. China.
Thank you. Bueno, I'm gonna sign out.
All righty.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Me too. Good luck. Good luck with the program.
Thank you. God
have
bless
a great
you.
Time. It's sweet. It's sweet and sour. You'll have a great time, but
I'll laugh and cry and think of you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys. Bye, Betsy. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Ciao.